Going through this honestly felt like it turned my life upside down. Like I feel like this past year has changed me. Get ready with me while I share my favorite acne coverage makeup products and tell you a little bit more about my story. We know SPF is a non-negotiable when we are trying to heal our skin barrier. These two have been my favorite. I think I'm wearing this one right now. This Milk Hydro Grip Gel Tint has been a godsend. Just look at the difference this coverage gives. Like, that's crazy. Plus it's a primer, so you are priming your base and covering it at the same time. It's a win-win. Next up is the Holy Grail of Holy Grails for concealers, the NARS Potts concealer. I wear the shade Tiramisu. This is hands down the best concealer I've ever tried. It just flattens everything out so nicely. For foundation, I rotate between a few, but like my makeup was turning out better in certain photos than it was in others, and I realized it was during the times I was wearing this specific foundation. Your Skin But Better by IT Cosmetics, the color correcting full coverage cream. Love her. Those are my Holy Grails of coverage. The rest of my makeup isn't anything super special, but I thought while I finished getting ready, I could share more about my experience with my skin. Beyond having to relearn my makeup routine, going through this honestly felt like it turned my life upside down. Like I feel like this past year has changed me. I know it sounds obvious to say that something happening to your face can make you question your identity. Of course, we associate how we look with who we are, but for me, it felt like it went deeper than that. I truly felt like I didn't know who I was anymore. For context, I grew up modeling since the age of 3, and I absolutely loved it. It was my job from since I could remember until college. My first ever modeling job was actually for the Ronald McDonald I'm Lovin' It campaign, and my parents had to sign an NDA because they were rolling out the new slogan. In elementary school, I modeled for American Girl Doll and I was Julie Albright. I signed with Ford Juniors when I was in middle school and started doing a lot of commercial work for Sears and Kmart, RIP Sears. I did commercials for Claire's, for Belk. It was a really fun time in my life. From a really young age, being on set, being in front of the camera, trying on clothes, even acting here and there just felt really natural and exciting to me. I also started earning money. So from a very early age, I built this dream version of my life, doing something I loved, something I was good at, and something that allowed me to work for fully myself. Now, I'm not saying this to sound privileged or ungrateful or not humble or anything. I'm just trying to explain why my identity was so deeply tied to my appearance, especially from a really early age, and why losing confidence in my skin felt like losing a part of myself. I'm originally from the Chicago area and I went to school at the University of Arizona. The distance and my life changing, you know, modeling just kind of slowed down, but I still went to gigs when I was home from school. During college, I started building a small following on social media and used that as a side hustle. After I graduated, I jumped straight into social media marketing full-time. I worked at 2 companies that you guys might know pretty well and learned a lot very quickly. Everything from influencer marketing to email and SMS to ads to social to creative directing shoots. Anything that had marketing behind it, I had my hands in. After 5 years in the industry, I ended up getting let go this summer, and honestly, the timing felt strangely aligned. I wasn't happy in the role I was in, I was already looking at other opportunities, and I was considering leaving to work for myself anyway. So when it happened, I honestly felt more relieved and excited than anything else. I've been doing brand deals and modeling on the side for years now, and always knew I kind of wanted to pursue that full-time, but full-time jobs naturally took priority. Getting let go felt like the opening I needed to finally give myself permission to go all in and see what was possible. And I wasn't super panicked about money. I had a little bit of savings and I knew I could take on brand deals and modeling in the side to support myself in the meantime, while also then simultaneously pursuing what I really wanted to do, you know? I was so excited. It felt like everything in my life was finally aligning and like this was gonna be the catalyst to my next big thing or whatever. And then my skin happened. Suddenly, I wasn't comfortable in front of a camera. I was looking at myself and seeing a face I did not recognize at all. A face I could no longer rely on the way I had since I was literally 3 years old. All the plans I had to update my digitals, work freelance with local photographers to build my portfolio, film more content suddenly felt so far out of reach. And it was honestly a bit soul crushing, especially when healing felt so far away. I just couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel at all. It wasn't even a blimp. I always thought I had a strong sense of self-love, but this felt like the ultimate test. And at first, it felt like I was failing the test, failing hard. It was hard to convince myself that I was still beautiful, that I truly loved myself. Because if you really loved yourself, you're not supposed to feel insecure about your appearance, right? Now, deep down, I knew my heart and my soul were what people loved about me, and that wouldn't change. But what this really challenged was my identity, my sense of self-worth, my understanding of what self-love really is. For over 2 decades, my appearance was such a core part of who I thought I was, so losing confidence in that actually just shook everything. I felt paralyzed. Here I was, unemployed and completely uninspired. I stopped creating content. I barely took photos of myself or in general for 2 months. I pulled inward and wanted to hide from the world and honestly hide from myself because I just couldn't accept that this was now a part of me. I couldn't accept that acne had become a part of my story and had now become a part of my identity. I was applying to job after job, having interviews that sounded promising and turned to radio silence. My savings were dwindling quickly, and the plan I once felt so confident in suddenly seemed unreachable. I started questioning everything. I began to actually start to believe the negative thoughts, and that scared me because I'm usually really good at separating thoughts from reality. And you might think I'm being dramatic in all of this, and honestly I probably am, but I'm sharing this because it's real. This is exactly what it felt like for me. Everything felt hard: getting out of bed, washing my face, even responding to texts or answering calls. In my mind, it truly became black and white. Having acne meant I couldn't reach my dreams. So it honestly felt easier to sit in the sadness and the numbness and avoid it, and that's what I did. And it took time, but I eventually accepted that this was going to be a part of my story now. There is no undoing it. And the moment I let go of needing control over it, everything started to shift. I decided I wasn't going to shrink anymore. I let myself be seen. I let people stare. And I proved to myself that I did have self-love, because real self-love meant continuing to shine, even if the identity I once clung onto so heavily completely evaporated. And I'm telling you, once I had that realization and started speaking more openly about my experience, my skin finally started to calm down and actually start healing. I've said it once before and I'll say it a million times again. I truly believe that what we carry internally can show up externally. And looking back, I think part of the reason this happened to me is because deep down I was terrified of showing up as my authentic self to the world. And I would not be able to achieve the dreams that I have for myself if I was not able to show up as my most authentic self. It felt like the universe took away the one thing that I've always leaned on and said, let's remove the safety net and see if you still choose yourself. I've been wanting to share more about my skin journey, but if I'm being honest, I go through waves. Some weeks I feel really open to sharing my life online, and other weeks I want to disappear completely. So I'm learning, I'm trying, and I'm still going after everything I said I would. Modeling, full-time content creation, and building a life that works for me. I actually launched my freelance social media management business about 2 months ago, and I already have my first 3 clients, so we are also no longer unemployed. It's wild how life delivers the things you ask for in ways you'd never expect. Sometimes your dreams are delayed, not denied, because there's more growth that needs to happen first. But what's meant for you will always find you when the timing is right. I wasn't ready for my dreams when they first started knocking. I was afraid of them becoming real because it meant that I would have to be seen 100% as authentically me. Now I'm showing up more grounded, more aware, and more honest with myself. I feel really good about 2026, and in a few more months I know my skin will find itself again. I used to believe acne was not meant to be a part of my story, not meant to be a part of who I was, but now it's become one of my greatest teachers. We are ready. This is the final look. Love you guys. Bye.